Cool. It's going to be a fun conversation because we're just a couple blocks from the new Facebook office.
Right.
You guys are a new startup and trying to make
Name for ourselves.
a name for yourselves, but you're introducing a new product. Who are you guys, first of all?
I'm Leo Shimizu, CTO, CEO, and co-founder.
Yeah.
And I'm David Chen. I'm the CTO.
Pipio.
Yes.
And what is Pipio in one sentence?
So Pipio is a social operating system, and we help people communicate the way they want to on the social web.
Okay. So since we're a block away from Facebook, why use Pipio instead of Facebook? Why, because most people understand what Facebook is.
Right.
They understand there's a social graph or a list of friends, and there's a wall that I can write on, and there's photos, and there's apps. That sounds like a social operating system to most people. Why do we need another company to try out?
So with Facebook, we tried to figure out, the problem with Facebook is that you don't get to selectively choose your audience.
Yeah.
And the way that Facebook is based on social and psychological motives and incentives, a lot of people compromise their social graph. So
What do you mean by that?
So when people started joining Facebook right away, and we were both in college when Facebook started right away, and what was going on was people were collecting friends as if it was almost social capital.
Yeah.
Facebook was a form of social resume.
I did that.
If you will. Exactly. And especially in college, you're also looking into almost insecurities of people in that life stage, and so you have to have a lot of friends. How many good-looking girls you have on your friends list? How many wall posts are you making? How many photos, flattering photos of yourself, are you tagged in? So when you start to talk about real-life communication in that sort of ecosystem, it doesn't work. I've never been in a situation where I was like, I need to reach this somebody, I'm going to go on Facebook and message them. I would either email them or call them.
Yeah.
And so you can sort of start to understand that you can't do real-world communication in an environment like that. And so we thought, what is the problem with Facebook or even Twitter? Is we wanted to figure out the privacy spectrum that exists in your real world, and then figure out the scopes of those, and then let you control who the audience is when you post.
Okay. Doesn't Facebook do that with its lists?
So you can't target specific lists.
That's
right.
right. Because I put my my wife in a family list, but when I write on Facebook, it goes to everybody. It goes to whether you're on a family list or a work list or the public, the general list, right?
Exactly. And then so you can't just specifically target your audience. And then what we go even more in depth, and you can say, does this person know that they're being targeted or not? Because that's how real world communication works.
Yeah. So there's not a good notification engine. Like if you're on Facebook and you write a status update, hey Scoble, you should see this. It goes to everybody first of all, and not just maybe your geeky friends.
Exactly.
It goes to your family. It goes to your college friends.
Exactly. And so
church buddies.
When you're basically set on an audience and you have no way to control that, you're gonna watch what you say.
And then also, I don't know unless I've set up. I'm not even sure if I can set up Facebook to know every time you've said something to me or said something about me. So can I do that in Pipio?
Exactly. So we basically let you communicate the way you want to and pick your audience and make sure that you're listening to who you want to.
Interesting. So you're really trying to become the next Twitter or the next Facebook or the next thing that everybody uses to chat with their friends and talk with their friends and maybe even have. Can I choose to put something in public with your system as well?
If there was a metaphorical comparison, I think we're much more similar to Google Wave than anybody else. Because we do almost the same things in terms of the concept and the philosophy of becoming a real-time communication platform with a powerful developer platform on top of it.
Okay.
What we differ in is the interpretation of what the consumer needs. So Google Wave really focused on organizing the message or the content with stroke for stroke syncing, playing back the content, but we focused on organizing your privacy spectrum.
Yep.
And so that's where we differ. But in terms of what we're trying to accomplish and what you can do and the features and the functionalities, we're very similar to Google Wave.
Yeah. So are you trying to become a collaboration tool for new kind of working together?
We're trying to set the new standard for web communication.
Okay.
we sort of see Friendster and even MySpace as sort of like Dogpile, Metacrawler, Alta Vista, and then you sort of see the evolution from that with basically a better ecosystem with what Facebook did.
Yeah.
So Facebook is kind of like Yahoo, where that's the evolutionary step that they made, and we're trying to make that Google leap and sort of refine the privacy model.
Let's talk about starting a startup here in Silicon Valley. You're brand new, just shipped in the last month, right? You were at the TechCrunch. How many employees? How are you funded? What's sort of the business side?
Funding is just angels, friends, and family. We have 4 employees right now. I moved from Seattle. He moved from New York. So in terms of starting a startup in Silicon Valley, this is where we wanted to be, and we're excited to be here.
Yeah. So very early, and when you see the product, it's not to the place where Oprah is going to talk about it yet, right? You're still early in the stage. You're trying to find that first 100,000 users and get going and find some momentum, right?
Right. I mean, what we really wanted to get down was what is the next big evolutionary step that's going to happen with social communication in general on the web.
Yeah.
And our first iteration of Pipio was a desktop Air app. And we even briefly flirted with the idea of doing what something like Flock did with, building on top of a browser. But we, ended up with what we have now is using the web as really the platform to build on top of. So what we have now is very early, but it's perfect for us because we sort of have our basic thesis out there in this product. And we can sort of put it out in the market, see how people react to it, and then morph it. Obviously, we've thought about how it could morph, and we have a couple ideas on how things could move. But ultimately, it's cool that it's early, so we can iterate to the market.
And you're using all the latest real-time standards like PubSub, Hubbub, are using RSS Cloud as well.
We're
to
going to
get
be
stuff in there.
implementing that. I mean, it's actually on the board as listed.
Yeah.
Right now, so when we designed it as a real-time system from the ground up, where all the other systems, they designed like a feed system like Facebook's. They designed it long before the real-time thing came along, and now they have to kind of fudge their stuff to make it work in real time. But we designed it on top of XMPP, which is built for real-time communications. And we treat everything as a real-time event. So while there's a lot of other services that do real-time feeds, like Redux, you get real-time. But there's other things that happen that's more than just a post that you make. There's like events that you create. So what I kind of think of it as, every user, they're producing a stream of events. And each event has a specific privacy attached to it, which is what we've covered, that we figured out like between like completely personal, like this event, only I should see it because I created it and it's personal, to one-on-one, to I want this event to be broadcasted to the world. So we facilitate that. And so everything that happens, it'll get distributed to exactly who you want it to right when you do it.
So when you say you're an operating system, you've built your system to have open APIs around every object to do that, to be able to talk to privacy outside of Pipio?
If you wanted to think really abstractly, a traditional operating system, its definition is it connects third-party applications with hardware resources. It facilitates that, right? And if you think about virtualization, cloud computing, and the computing experience in general becoming a terminal, hardware resources are no longer needed. So what would be the next big thing that would be most beneficial for the consumer and experience and the third party? And social resources. And so that's why we sort of take the social operating system aspect of it. And what we focus on really core with the social aspect is the privacy spectrum.
Okay.
And so like Twitter is really good at covering one extreme end of the spectrum, which is global voyeurism.
Global or DM, private one-to-one.
Yeah.
Sure.
And which sucks because I can't even join you until our little private
And that's what
thing.
we say by real-world communication. Real-world communication is not analogous. Privacy isn't analogous.
Yeah.
And what we figured out is that there's actually 4 to 6 shades of privacy. And so that's what we represent in the form of the channels and rooms.
Tell me just real briefly, because we're almost out of disk space, or storage space. It's not disk anymore. What's your infrastructure? How are you building this?
Amazon's AWS right now.
Okay.
I mean, we chose that because we didn't want to deal with having to set up servers, racking them, bring them to a colo.
Yeah.
I've had to deal with that before, and it's definitely not fun. With Amazon, we just were able to write our code, just focus on that, and have it deployed and running instantly.
Yep. It's pretty cool system.
Yeah.
We'll have to get you over to the Rackspace Cloud.
Yeah.
So I just want to get a general tour around and explain what the concepts of each piece do.
Right. So the left-hand side is your main navigation area.
Okay.
You can access your updates, which is basically your real-time feed.
Okay.
Global updates is basically just real-time visualized search.
Okay.
So you
Everybody in
can-
the system talking to you.
Exactly. So obviously this is just our beta population, but once people start signing up, you can zoom into the most intimate areas, or you can zoom out and see what the country's talking about.
And so, oh, that's interesting. Is this a U.S. only product? right now?
Actually, no,
Go
it's
to Europe.
international. We have
Okay.
European and Asian users, people in Egypt.
And unlike Twitter, it's map based, so I can actually say, show me only the tweets in Palo Alto or the
Exactly.
status updates that are coming
Exactly.
to you.
It's based on where you're looking. So if you zoom in on Palo Alto, you're going to get a real-time stream of things that only happen within that map area.
Do I have other views as well, or am I forced to view things through location?
If you don't want to use location, so
Can I just see my friends or see my college buddies?
Yes,
Process?
in the future we'll have different, so we have contact management and you have groups, and you'll be able to filter through groups. And what we have right now is actually search. So you can talk about, let's go back to California or the US in general, and maybe District 9. And so now you're just filtering for keywords that have District 9, and it's still real time.
Okay. And where did these items come from? Was it other Pipio users, or was it Twitter, or was it Facebook?
Yes, so right now we only search through the native.
Okay. Are you eventually going to hook it up to Twitter search as well,
Absolutely.
so you can pull in from outside? Okay.
Yep.
And so you've shown us updates. What are rooms?
Rooms are basically a private wall, or a private feed, if you will. You can create a room.
So you could say Building 43 or your friends or whatever.
Sure. Building 43.
You could
create
create
it, and then you would invite people into it, and you can share pictures, links. So basically, just a private area where the user also knows that it's private, and you also know it's private.
Can you create a public room?
You will in the future. Not
So
right now.
could Coca-Cola create a room, for instance, for discussing Coca-Cola?
If they wanted to, they could, but we
Okay.
actually have a corporate solution, so they could actually use a different thing that we have.
All right, keep going on the tours. Contacts are obvious.
Contacts management is pretty. You can put people and classify them into groups that you create, and that comes in handy when you want to, say, make a targeted post. There's a little lock icon over here, and you can target a specific group, so it'll go out to everybody in that group, or just specific individuals, or combinations of both.
Okay, that's useful. And keep going on the tour down there. So you got contacts, and then recent service searches.
Yeah,
or
so the
filters.
recents area is basically like a history for your browser. If you visited Dave's page, it's going to get listed in recents.
Okay.
And you can always close it if you want. And what's cool is we have notifications on areas where content can change. So for example, if you got a new search result for District 9, there will be a little red pop-up that comes up. Or if I was looking at Dave's page and he made an update, there would be a notification bubble next to his name under recents.
Okay. Now you said it's an operating system. Could I create a new UI, a new kind of game, for instance, on top, and that has a completely different UI?
Absolutely. So let's look into our operating system aspect of it. To be an operating system, we wanted to be able to not just bring in third-party applications and sites, but also allow them to function fully within our ecosystem. So right now with traditional aggregation, you're pulling content, you're pushing content.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of full functionality. So we have a YouTube application. You can search for stuff.
Puppies.
And you could watch the video. It's a floatable window, so you could drag it and still participate in the communication.
Right. So that's you being the front end for YouTube.
Mhm.
Now, could you, and I could build an app on top of that using your APIs to send messages to private things, or?
So are you asking from the aspect of YouTube, or
From
you
you.
as a?
Could I build an app on top?
Yes, so let me
like,
give you
could
an-
I build a new kind of Foursquare, for instance, that uses your privacy and your messaging buses?
Exactly. So somebody could create something called maybe group watching.
Okay.
And what it would do is enhance the YouTube application, so maybe you could do synchronous group watching. So let's say we were watching the same video,
Okay.
and you had to go to the bathroom, you paused the video, it pauses for me. Or you fast forward it halfway, it would fast forward it for me.
Very cool.
So we're talking about enhancing the original application. We have a Netflix app. So if you have a Netflix account, you could actually log in and watch a movie, stream it in the floatable window that we just had.
Yep.
And so Netflix could do the same thing. And going back to what you were talking about, these aren't features, updates, rooms. They all do the same thing in terms of a feature. You type text, you hit enter, and it posts it. The thing that's different is the audience.
Yeah.
So these are all exactly the same features. These are just different scopes of your spectrum, and we treat that as an abstract concept.
Interesting.
And so, for example, Rooms is an area where you invite somebody, they accept it, they can get in. So Netflix or YouTube could use that Rooms API to facilitate the invitation process for group watching.
Got it.
Same with search. Search, we treat that as an abstract concept. So Twitter could implement their feed into our search and enhance our search that way.
Very cool.
And obviously, these are the 5. We have a Facebook application, Twitter application, YouTube, an RSS reader, and Netflix. These are basically, we went to our beta population and asked, what are some of the sites that you use outside of Pipio most often? And we wanted to bring that experience in here.
Yeah. How are you guys going to make money with this?
So we have 3 different areas where we can monetize. The first is the main Pipio application. So we're going to have premium features in the main Pipio ecosystem.
Okay.
We have video chat. So a premium feature would be you can record the video chat and play the video whenever you want to from the cloud.
Yeah.
You can, it's penny an hour. It's actually profitable for us, and it's very cheap for the user. We'll have a dozen to half a dozen or so premium features like that people can pay for.
Okay.
Obviously, we have the search area. So with search comes search advertising.
Yep.
What's cool is that now somebody has the ability to, obviously, we're going to debate if we want to create our own self-service app platform, but the potential is that now advertisers can not only target contextual relevancy,
Yep.
but geographical and chronological.
Okay.
So if you're a bar owner, you could target not just specific keywords, but let's say 5 miles from my bar and between 4 and 6 p.m.
Yep.
for a happy hour coupon. And so basically your ad budget gets more efficient, and it basically democratizes the ad inventory. So
Very cool.
now that bar owner, instead of spending $20 a day on Google AdWords, can only spend $3 because it's very specific.
Very
and
cool.
so more inventory, better ads for the end user.
Yeah.
What's next for you guys?
Mobile
iPhone
app.
Yep.
Mobile presence. We're gonna probably crank out a couple more in-house third-party applications to sort of help conceptualize and push the idea of what can go on.
What kind of users do you want right now? Because you're in early days, you probably want a certain. You don't want to get on Oprah yet, right? Because
I think anybody that uses
if that happens, take it. But you're probably going to want to build. You're going to want certain kinds of users to give you feedback to take this bigger and make it add value to it.
What's interesting is that from our beta population, we have a wide variety of users. So we have the mom that just wants to be able to communicate just with a couple of people. What's interesting and what's almost a proof that this is communication is that it doesn't require critical mass to be useful for you. When has a phone ever become useful once you reached 150 contacts? It's useful for you as with the very first contact, right? Because it's a communication tool. You don't need critical mass on this because you can just choose who you want to invite and keep it contained because it's private. What a lot of people are doing is just adding Facebook and Twitter, their Facebook and Twitter accounts into channels so they're not missing out on participating, contributing to that ecosystem.
Yeah.
And so to answer your question, if you're looking for a way to privately communicate, and have full control of who your audience is, those people would want to use our system. Or maybe it's the people that don't necessarily use Facebook and Twitter anymore, and it's just to sort of take a look and stalk people. Those people could use it.
Very cool.
So anybody that uses social web communication can definitely benefit from our platform.
It all starts at pip.io, right?
Pip.io.
And is it open to public right now?
It
or
is.
Do you have to have a code or anything? It's open to the public? Anybody
Yes.
can use it? Great. Well, thank you so much. This
Thank
was
you.
a pleasure. Good luck.
Thank you.